Hey folks, Midnight Anubis here to bring you another commentary. Today's video is on the Gamertronshow, who made a countdown on the top 10 games I hate that everyone else likes. As you can imagine, that list got a lot of flack, especially with his number one entry being all Nintendo games / Pokemon. So a few months later, he decides to make a somewhat response to the list titled, Why I Don't Like Nintendo. While I do give him credit for at least trying to defend himself, he does a pitiful job of doing so. Like always, I'll be skipping to the parts that I want to cover, and if you want to see what I skipped, a link to the original video will be in the description. So without any further delay, let's begin.
Hey, hi, how you doing? This is the Gamertron. Welcome back to the Gamertron Show. We need to have a talk.
Oh, that should be fun.
So I need to explain in greater detail why Nintendo and Nintendo games were my number one, why I hate Nintendo games but everybody else likes Nintendo. And I think people are taking the word hate a bit too seriously. I dislike, I'm unfavorable, I don't like. I don't hate like, I should burn Nintendo to the ground, we should burn Nintendo to the ground. Not that kind of hate. God, no, I'm not unreasonable. I simply dislike Nintendo even though everybody else likes Nintendo games.
Hate. Verb. To feel intense or passionate dislike for someone. If you didn't passionately dislike Nintendo games, then don't title your video Top 10 Games I Hate That Everyone Else Likes. Maybe title it something like Top 10 Games I Don't Care For But Everyone Else Likes. Don't complain that people are taking the word seriously when they actually know what the word means.
Allow me to explain in greater detail. First off, everybody in that video, when talking about my number one, everybody jumped on one thing. I gave multiple reasons in that video, but everybody just jumped on one thing, and that was that I said I didn't like that every single Nintendo game is exclusive. I don't like Nintendo's exclusivity. Everybody jumped on that and ignored everything else I had to say. Everything else.
Assumptions. I mean, it's not like we got people like Godzilla2915 or Tyler responding to your other points about Nintendo, but I thought you said everyone was harping onto that exclusive point. Also, what a great way to treat your audience. That'll totally convince people to listen to your points.
Listen, we can argue exclusivity till the cows come home. There is no right or wrong answer. That's the truth. There is no right or wrong answer. Some people think exclusives are a good idea, some people think they are bad. There is no right or wrong answer. I'm tired of people saying, this is how the world works, there needs to be exclusive. From my perspective, releasing a game on all platforms means more copies are sold and more money is made.
So in that case, why did Watch Dogs Wii U do so poorly? Why did the PS3 version of Skyrim do so poorly in sales? Not every game needs to be multi-platform, buddy, otherwise it just creates nothing but problems. You also forget that the company would have to spend a ton of money on research and development for all three consoles, and that could cripple the company if it does poorly. Hell, let's look at Watch Dogs again. They had to spend a ton of money to configure the game for the Wii U, tone down the graphics because it's inferior to the PS4 and Xbox One, hire playtesters, etc. And how did the game do in sales? Pretty bad. But here's something I also noticed. Why are you complaining about Nintendo having exclusives when Sony and Microsoft have done the exact same things with their IPs? And before you say, Halo on Windows! Windows is owned by Microsoft. They can get away with something like that. You don't see Halo on the PS3 or Wii, do you? I didn't think so. If anything, having exclusives is a great idea because if you have a console, you can get people to buy your console thanks to these exclusives and make you money.
Now, listen to me when I talk about the rest of the reasons I don't like Nintendo. First off, they are absolutely terrified or afraid to come out with new IPs, new franchises. What has Nintendo been doing for the past 20 years? They've been making sequels to the same franchises, to the same games, over and over and over again. It's been nothing but Mario games, and Zelda games, and Kirby games, and more Mario games, and some Donkey Kong here and there. It's been the same franchises, the same games over and over and over again.
You're right. They've done nothing but make sequels to Mario, Zelda, and Kirby in the last 20 years. So, tell me, sir, what do you call Pikmin, Nintendogs, Chibi Robo, Fire Emblem, Kid Icarus, F-Zero, Starfy, Metroid, Mother, Pilotwings, Xenoblade Chronicles, and Splatoon? They're new IPs to Nintendo, and they were made in the last 20 years, so why don't you bring those up? Oh yeah, that's right. It would break your argument. As for why they make sequels, well, simple. A lot of people like the original game, and Nintendo knows that those fans will pick up the next one. This is also a practice done by every big gaming company, and it works out for them most of the time, so I don't see why this is a bad thing.
Now, I know everybody's immediately going to jump on me and say, they're making Splatoon! Splatoon is coming out, that's a new Nintendo IP! It's a third-person shooter paintball game. Third-person shooter paintball. That's cartoony. I've seen so much more creativity and originality from Nintendo, and that's their new IP. That's their new IP. Cartoony paintball. Yeah.
Regardless of what genre the game is, it's still a new IP, and it looks a lot more different than its competitors based on trailer footage. You can't completely shrug it off because it's a third-person paintball game. It's still a new Nintendo IP, and it still renders your point about them not making any new IPs and focusing on sequels invalid.
I'm going to talk about the most important reason. Nintendo does not care about its customers. Oh, the horror! The shocking horror! That can't be true! I'm sorry, it is. Nintendo is both a developer and a publisher, and I have never, ever seen them give a damn about their customers. They are solely based on their nostalgia alone. Nostalgic gamers who played Nintendo games as a kid and still play their Nintendo games because, well, they're obsessed with Nintendo.
Never giving a damn, huh? What about the time where they replaced the weak straps on the Wiimote because a lot of people kept chucking them through the TVs because of how weak they were? What about them reviving old IPs like Kid Icarus and Star Fox for a new audience? What about Nintendo changing its mind on Content ID and introducing a partnership program to at least give them a cut to try and make it up to the Let's Players? You say that they don't care about their customers, and yet I showed 3 examples proving that's false.
When have they ever did something specific, something specifically nice for their customers? When have they ever, like BioWare? Look at BioWare. When people simply demanded and rallied together to ask that BioWare change their ending because it was unsatisfying and in many people's opinion bad, BioWare said, you know what, we're going to do it for you guys. You guys bought our game, you guys are loyal fans, you're big fans, you care about this series, Mass Effect series so much, we're going to give this to the fans. We're going to change our ending, we're going to add more to our ending. When the hell has BioWare ever done that?
Okay, first off, no they didn't. The original ending, still there. They stated in the article that it'll be the same ending. All they did was expand the ending, not replace it. Second of all, and this was an issue I noticed with your original list, you didn't script this, did you? Because I just heard you say, when has BioWare done something like that? I'll explain in a bit why it's probably best to use a script for videos like this, but for now, what the hell?
As a matter of fact, they did the exact opposite. When Tomodachi Life, I'm sure you guys all heard about this, it was in the news for quite a while, when Tomodachi Life had a glitch in it that allowed there to be same-sex marriages, same-sex couples. It was, granted it was a glitch, and glitches need to be fixed, but even after they fixed the glitch, they didn't even add the option or somehow improve upon the glitch to make it part of the game for same-sex relationships and marriages. And what was their response? We didn't want to send any message. We didn't mean to offend anybody. We care about our customers and sexual orientation. Granted, I'm paraphrasing here. That's not exactly what they said, but it was silly. They shouldn't have released a statement. All they needed to say was, this is a glitch. We need to fix this.
Gaijin Goomba did a video on this issue, which I'll leave in the description, but the main reason they took it out is because Japan is still against homosexuality, and since the game was originally made in Japan over a year ago, they couldn't take it out when the game was localized. It was too late. But you're also ignoring something about that statement. Nintendo of America apologized for taking it out, and they did state that if the game got a sequel, they would try and add the option of same-sex marriages in. See, this is why you should use the script for videos like this. It helps prevent you from sounding like an idiot. And I think I'm going to stop this video here. Final thoughts? If we were to use this guy's ideas in the video game industry, I expect another crash in the next couple of years.